Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything. I'm definitely not. Chat was bullying me earlier. I was being called all types of mean names and stuff. Just because I'm not an expert on technology.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the card used by Sho, aka Cyrus Truesdale, in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga, Shuttleroid.
Why did I call you homophobic? I didn't say you were homophobic, Zesty. I just said I'm not really sure that people under 40 are like really homophobic. And then I said the only person who maybe qualifies to me is like Zesty, because like, you know, sometimes I have to try to distinguish like what's someone joking and what's someone not, and I'm like, I don't think he's actually like joking. So yeah, you know. And also I know like being gay don't really play in the Latin community, you know. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's Catholic, because like a lot of Mexicans are Catholic. So what did you say? You're also conservative, Zesty. You're like super, for somebody who lives in literally the most liberal state in the history of the country. California has always been the most liberal state ever. Like forever. California always votes blue. It's all like California is easily the gayest state by a mile. It's the most liberal state. It's like he's really conservative too. So I'm like, I line up all these puzzle pieces. Like, yeah, Zesty, not saying he's homophobic, but if there was one person who maybe was homophobic, like, okay, that I think Zesty qualifies.
Shuttleroid. If you say its name 3 times, it will get printed in the TCG. Nah, I'm just kidding. That card's never coming to the TCG. Shuttleroid was released in the OCG in December of 2007, and we are quickly approaching the 15-year anniversary from when this card made its debut in Premium Pack 11 over in the OCG. And this card has garnered a lot of attention from people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, very similarly to how Elemental Hero Air Neos has in the...
Dolan, why couldn't I get a thumbnail like this? This thumbnail looks so much better than mine. Press 1 if Dolan should have given me this thumbnail. This looks so good.
Sense that it has bizarrely seemingly been forgotten about by Konami, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally. But of course, here on this channel, I like to assume everything is kind of a crazy, harmless conspiracy. And so we are going to go over some rumors and some facts about Shuttleroid and why it has never been printed in the TCG and why it has never been reprinted in the OCG since December 2007. So Shuttleroid is a Roid monster that was used by Cyrus in Chapter 9 in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga.
Oh wait, chat. This card has never been printed? Like never? There's not an English print of this card? Because that's like maybe even more wild than Erdios.
This is the only time the card has ever been summoned in the GX manga. It was never summoned in the GX anime. And just for date purposes, this card did make its debut and only animated or manga appearance in 2006. And remember, it was printed in the OCG 1 year later in 2007. However, the card Shuttleroid is the only Roid card that has never been printed in the TCG, and it's one of the few Roid monsters that has never been reprinted in the OCG, leading to many rumors and discussions in various forums as to what is going on with Shuttleroid. What is the truth behind this Roid monster? The effect is nothing crazy, right? A crazy effect might be reason why the TCG wouldn't want to import the card into the game, but the effect is nothing crazy. When this card is targeted for an attack, you can banish this card. During your next standby phase, special summon this card banished by this effect. If summoned this way, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Nothing wild, and on top of that, I don't believe Roids during the GX era were ever a top tier or meta deck. At least it's nothing that I've ever heard about. I've heard about Infernities being very good during the 5Ds era, Pepe being very good during the Arc 5 era, Salaman great during Vrains. You know, there have been anime-related decks that have been meta before in the OCG and TCG, but I've never once heard about Roids being super good in the actual game. And so you could kind of understand if
they were not, Dylan. Roids were borderline an abomination. To be completely honest, most of the GX archetypes were terrible, chat. That's why GX is an era filled of so many random assortment of decks that just are like player concoctions, like, you know, Perfect Circle Monarchs, Stab Return, just to roll a bunch of cards together, make it work. Not a lot of it is just out of the box archetypes because the archetypes were so bad.
Roids were a really dominant and troublesome deck in 2007, 2008. Why the TCG maybe wouldn't want to import another broken card into the game, but that's really obviously not the case here because number one, this card is not broken in any way. The effect is just pretty meh. And number two, Roids were not a problematic deck in the card game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So it has nothing to do with that. To add on to the mystery shrouding this card, Shuttleroid, really at least to my knowledge, I did the research. Now, I didn't go through every single video game, so if I'm wrong about this, you can let me know. But from the research that I've conducted over the past several weeks, I do not believe this card has ever appeared in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game, which is very interesting and, to me, very telling as to the reason why Shuttleroid has been forgotten about, quote-unquote, by Konami. In video games that have had Yu-Gi-Oh! Exclusive OCG cards before, Shuttleroid has been excluded from every single video game. Even Elemental Hero Air Neos hasn't gotten that sort of treatment. I mean, Air Neos was just in Link Evolution not too long ago. Air Neos is not in Master Duel, but hey, at least it's been in video games, unlike Shuttleroid. Before I go over, in my opinion, what is the probably most compelling argument as to why Shuttleroid is no longer really a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I want to go over a very funny rumor that I've seen on a lot of forums, and that is the rumor that Shuttleroid represents a male body part, and for that...
What? Wait, what? Shuttleroid represents a dick? So what if you send a girl a picture of Shuttleroid? You get banned. What? Shuttleroid represents a dick? Oh. Actually kind of does look like a dick. Holy. I never actually knew. Wow. Dude, it really does look like a dick. Doesn't it? Take off the wings. It's basically a vibrator. What? I had never even thought about, I mean, what's the other, Raging Earth? I thought about that one. I thought that was kind of obvious. Dick has eyes. Damn, I never thought about that.
Reason Konami does not want to ever show the card again or reprint the card or have the card appear in any video game. I've looked at this card quite a bit and I do not see it at all. I mean, I can kind of...
I'm sorry, Chad. Am I too LGBTQ, or am I the only, like, I do see it. Like, I do it. I do see it. This looks like the head of a penis. And this right here looks like the long part of the penis. Like, yeah. This I'd see it. Now, it had to be brought to my attention, but yeah, just take off the wings. Like, it does look like a penis. An erect penis.
See where people are coming from, but to me, that is a massive stretch, and I think there are many other very suggestive cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That I just can't buy into that theory at all. I think that's a very fringe, funny conspiracy theory that Shuttleroid is so R-rated, if you will, that they'll just never show off this card again, and it's just been locked away in the Konami lockbox. I can kind of see where people are coming from a little bit, but only because it was pointed out to me and because I was looking for it. If that theory was never brought up in forums, I would have never, in a million times looking at this card, associated it with a male body part. And had that been the reason why I believed this card has been just tossed to the side by Konami. So I did want to address that theory.
I don't really look at the card that much.
In my opinion, much like Air Neos, I believe there is a legality issue surrounding Shuttleroid. I did a little bit more research, and apparently Shuttleroid is supposed to be based off of the Space Shuttle Atlantis, which is a copyrighted aircraft by NASA. I can definitely see the resemblance between Shuttleroid and the Space Shuttle Atlantis, and in the copyright that NASA has for the Space Shuttle Atlantis, it does forbid any other products from using the likelihood or representing the Space Shuttle in any way. So what I believe happened is NASA sent Konami maybe a little bit of a cease and desist and said, hey, you cannot use this card anymore. This card artwork is clearly based off the likeness of the Space Shuttle Atlantis, and for that reason, you cannot use this card. And so Konami, rather than, making a big deal out of it, since it is a pretty irrelevant Roid card and a pretty irrelevant archetype, if I'm going to be honest, that only appeared once in their GX manga, they made the decision to accept that cease and desist and just never use Shuttleroid again. And that is the reason that Shuttleroid has never been reprinted in 15 years. It's the reason Shuttleroid is the only Roid monster to never be printed in the TCG. And it's the reason that Shuttleroid has not been in any Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games, because as of 2007, 2008, Konami no longer owns the rights to Shuttleroid, and because it was such an inconsequential card, Konami really never fought that ruling. They never fought that letter from NASA, or that cease and desist, if you will, the copyright infringement, and they just said, all right, it is what it is. And that, to me, is the most logical and likely explanation as to why Shuttleroid has never been printed in the TCG and never been reprinted in the OCG and is stored deep away in the Konami lockbox and is a card that I believe we will never see referenced ever again. I think it's much like Air Neos. The Air Neos one, I don't really know what it's for. It's got to be for, again, some sort of artwork infringement that no one has really been able to find at this point. This one makes a lot more sense to me. Is it NASA specifically? Maybe not, but I definitely think it's a legality issue that has prevented Shuttleroid from coming to the TCG and being reprinted in the OCG. But let me know what you guys think of this down below.
Excuse me. I want to know why we still never got New Cosmos. I mean, they are a TCG exclusive archetype. I mean, I'm sure we'll get Cosmos sooner or later. Didn't Cosmos get a run of like 4 sets? So it's not like Cosmos never got support. They had like a 4-run set. You know what I mean? Like they got like 4 sets. I know they came out in like Clash of Rebellion, I think.
As I said in the Air Neos video, Konami has already gotten in trouble before using art that has been copyrighted, and they've had to change art in the past. So this is nothing new for Konami. There is not a big trail, but there is a small trail that you can find of them using copyrighted work and copyrighted references in order to create the designs on their Yu-Gi-Oh cards, especially in the early 2000s, especially in like 2003 to 2009. It seemed to happen way more than it has in the past 10 years or so. So it's right in that era of when Konami had some of those issues, and I think this is most certainly a legality issue, and Konami just never wanted to bother with this card again. But let me know your thoughts, and if you're interested in my thoughts on Air Neos, I'll have that linked video down below as well. Thank you.
Man, why can't we get an emote like this? Hungry Paymon. That's adorable.